Since the dawn of time, it was understood that eye contact, a confident voice, and audience captivation were keys to a well-performed speech. This was discovered through 3 years of theater, dealing with a brainless moron for a director. His antics were ludicrous, his thought process was questionable, and his advice was also questionable. But, even though he was borderline insane, I, Harrison J. LaBarbera, have grasped the basics of public speaking. I understood how to present myself. Basically, I kind of just learned how to be loud, make people know, understand what I'm saying, and gather people's attention. And it was only through theater that I really understood most of that. That is essentially what I'm saying. Through this class, I kind of hoped to maybe learn a little more about the fundamentals of conjuring a speech, like what specific elements I should aim to incorporate, how exactly I should present myself during a speech, rather than how I usually would during some sort of theater show. I was usually comedic relief in some aspect, so I wanted to learn how to be the opposite of that. And I also wanted to maybe gather some tips and tricks to actually keeping what it is I want to say inside my brain, because that is something I really struggle with, is making sure that I actually remember everything that I'm supposed to say, that I should say, what I would say. I tend to forget and just kind of ramble on and on, because I'm used to having an actual script in my hands where I look through and I'm like, I just need to remember every single one of these words, and I can do that. That's easy. But when I don't necessarily have to do that for speeches like this, then it gets a little hard, and then I don't know what I'm doing. So that's kind of what I hope to learn by taking this class. And the real question is, did I learn any of that? Did I manage to take any of that away from this class? I understand that what I should be doing, what is suggested for me to do. I understand all of that. But throughout actually trying to present these speeches and figuring out what it is I wanted to do for each speech, I lost immense amounts of track and ended up screwing everything completely out of what I wanted to do. But I can't say I regret anything. I can't say I'm disappointed by what I did. Maybe a little, because I didn't really try to go for what I wanted to do, but I think I did a lot more than I actually would have ever done in a public speaking class on a normal accord, which I can confidently say I'm proud of. But I do wish I kind of took it seriously rather than just being funny the whole time. I don't like saying I was funny, but because it sounds almost egotistical in a way, but I guess if I had to look at it from a subjective view, or I guess not really subjective, but more so an outside perspective, that's the word. If I had to look at it from an outside perspective, I guess I could say that in some way, shape, or form, what I was doing was funny, or at least incredibly interesting, which is what I like to do. That's the part I could do, is keep it interesting. And I guess through this class, I also learned different ways to really gather that interest in a way that isn't just the slapstick comedy that was being on stage for those few years. So I liked that different approach. I wish I could have, I keep saying I wish I could have incorporated other things, like using the note cards. You probably noticed I tried to do it a bit in the latter half of the presentations with when I did the little alien thing, and I kind of tried to do it with the most recent speech. But I didn't really look at the cards because I keep forgetting I have them, and I end up just trying to present the speech as I would want to, rather than how I should, which is again another problem of mine that I need to work on. But at least I'm aware of the problem now, and the class definitely helped me figure that out. But if I had been given the circumstance to don't present on something stupid, don't make up rules for trouble and treat them as if they're actually rules. If I had to if that was an actual demand to take the presentation seriously and not try and find some loophole around it, if I wasn't given so much creative freedom, basically, I could definitely see myself taking everything that was in like the presentations, I was in the textbook, everything that I'm supposed to know and implement and actually use it in a presentation where I actually try and I actually have a serious like tone of voice and I'm actually trying. Not to say I didn't try, period, but like give the presentation probably how you, professor, have anticipated it to play out, because I can confidently say I don't think you anticipated any of what I was trying to do. Mainly because I kind of stopped submitting the outlines at some point because I wanted it to be a surprise. But yeah, sorry. Anyway, yeah, I would have definitely tried a lot more if I was removed the whoa, if I was given more creative less if I was giving less creative freedom in my speeches. Um, but yeah, I guess that's really everything that I learned. I learned what I needed to do, and how I can implement it in speeches where I actually don't have that creative freedom. I've learned how to retain the speech in my mind rather than go on a ramble for 20, not even 20, but like a little over the time. That's another problem I've realized I had, is that when I do the improvisational speeches for way too long, I end up going overboard and I end up breaching the time limit because I feel like I go over by a few seconds, which isn't so bad, but if I were under like a stricter professor, because you've been very, very lenient with what I've been doing, and a lot of other people, but if I haven't been like given such uh lack of restraint, no, if I haven't been given such like a lax ability to present, uh, I would probably lose a lot more points than I'm being given. But yeah, I've definitely learned how to fix all of these mistakes. It's just a matter of actually implementing those things and making sure that I actually can succeed. But yeah, I will never once say that I'm not proud of everything I've done this semester. Um, would I take the class again, though? You might have to ask me another time.